Ever found yourself putting off tasks until the very last minute? Does laziness often get the better of you? These are questions that resonate with many of us. It's a battle we're all too familiar with, the struggle between our desire to relax and the demands of our responsibilities. This, my friends, is the classic tale of procrastination. It's a common affliction, one that plagues students and professionals alike. A procrastination is a thief, stealing our precious time and leaving us with stress and anxiety in return. But what if I told you there's a way out of this trap? In this video, we're going to delve into the world of procrastination and laziness, not to condemn it, but to understand it. And in understanding, we might just find the tools to overcome it, to boost our productivity, and to reclaim our time. So, if you ever find yourself succumbing to laziness, this video might just have the solutions you need. But first, is being lazy always a bad thing? Or could it possibly lead to increased productivity? This question sparks a great debate and is the crux of our discussion. On one side of the spectrum, we have individuals who argue that periods of laziness can indeed lead to increased creativity and productivity. This is predicated on the idea that the brain needs downtime to recharge, refresh, and ultimately foster innovative thinking. From this perspective, laziness is not an enemy, but rather a necessary pause, a little like the calm before the storm of creativity. Imagine a lion in the wild. The lion spends a good deal of time resting and conserving energy, but when it's time to hunt, the lion is all in, demonstrating speed, precision, and focus. Could humans also benefit from this rhythm of rest and high-intensity activity? Proponents of this viewpoint would say a resounding yes. On the flip side of the debate, there are those who firmly believe that consistent effort and discipline are the cornerstones of productivity. They argue that laziness, if left unchecked, can easily morph into a habit, a slippery slope leading to procrastination and inefficiency. According to this school of thought, the key to productivity lies in maintaining a steady momentum, much like a river that keeps flowing, relentlessly carving its path. This viewpoint champions the idea of grit, the power of passion, and perseverance. It's about staying the course, putting in the work day after day, even when it's hard, even when you'd rather be doing anything else. Both sides of the debate have their merits and demerits. Like most things in life, the answer probably lies somewhere in the middle, in finding the right balance between rest and effort, between allowing oneself to be lazy at times and maintaining a disciplined approach to work. So, the question remains, is laziness a foe or a hidden ally in the quest for productivity? It's a question worth pondering, and as we delve deeper into the science behind laziness in the next scene, we might just find our answer. To answer that, let's delve into what science says about laziness. You might think that laziness is purely a character trait, but science begs to differ. It's not as simple as labeling someone as lazy or not. Several factors come into play that can make us feel like we're being lazy even when we're not. First up, let's talk about motivation. This is a big one. When we lack motivation, tasks can seem much more daunting than they really are. You see, our brains are wired to seek rewards. If a task doesn't have an immediate reward, or if the reward doesn't seem worth the effort, our motivation dwindles. It's our brain's way of conserving energy for tasks it deems more valuable. Next, we have fatigue. Ever notice how you feel lazier after a long, hard day of work? That's not a coincidence. When we're tired, our body and brain enter a state of energy conservation. It's a survival mechanism, really. Your body is telling you it needs time to recharge, and it does this by making you feel lazy. Then there's the lack of clear goals. When we don't have a clear direction or objective, it can be hard to muster up the energy to get moving. It's like being in a boat without a compass. You might paddle with all your might, but without knowing where you're going, it can feel like you're just spinning in circles. In this case, the feeling of laziness is actually a sense of aimlessness. So, you see, what we often label as laziness is actually a complex interplay of various factors. Understanding these factors is the first step towards overcoming what we perceive as laziness. It's about learning to listen to your body, understanding your brain's reward system, and setting clear, achievable goals. With a deeper understanding of these factors, we can start to take control of our laziness. But how exactly can we do that? What strategies can we employ to overcome laziness? Well, the good news is there are several proven methods you can use to kick your laziness to the curb. Firstly, it's crucial to set clear and achievable goals. Having a defined direction gives us a sense of purpose and motivation. Think about it. When you know precisely what you're aiming for, the path to get there becomes less daunting, doesn't it? So, whether you're working on a project, studying for an exam, or simply trying to get through your to-do list, having a clear goal in mind can help you stay focused and motivated. Secondly, breaking tasks down into smaller parts can make them seem less overwhelming. While it might feel great to think about completing a big project, the reality of the workload can quickly become intimidating. That's where breaking it down comes in. By dealing with smaller portions at a time, you're more likely to stay on track and less likely to procrastinate. And let's not forget about maintaining a healthy lifestyle. Regular exercise, a balanced diet, and adequate sleep can do wonders for your energy levels and your mood. When you feel good physically, you're more likely to feel good mentally, and that can only help in your battle against laziness. Now, it's important to remember that different strategies work for different people. What works for one person might not work for another. You might find that a combination of these strategies works best for you, or perhaps you'll discover a completely different strategy that suits you perfectly. The important thing is to keep trying, keep experimenting, and keep pushing yourself. After all, overcoming laziness is a journey. It's not something that happens overnight. It takes time, effort, and a lot of patience. But with the right strategies in place, you can certainly make progress. You can become more productive, more focused, and ultimately, less lazy. Remember, the key is to find what works best for you. So, what's going to be your strategy? So we've explored the debate around laziness and productivity, the science behind laziness, and some strategies to overcome it. We've discovered that laziness isn't necessarily a bad trait, but rather a habit that can be reshaped with the right mindset and tools. We've delved into the science and learned how our brains are wired, how dopamine plays a role, and how our environment can influence our behavior. We've also examined various strategies that can help us combat laziness, from setting clear, achievable goals to breaking tasks into manageable parts, and even the role of physical activity in boosting energy levels. But, as with all things, knowledge alone isn't enough. It's the application of that knowledge that makes a difference. So as we wrap up, I encourage you to reflect on what we've discussed. Consider how these insights can be applied to your own life and circumstances. Now here's a question for you. How will you tackle your own laziness and improve your productivity? Remember, the first step to change is awareness.